the myth of bootstrapping.
Right.
Because people always talk about, especially white wealthy people, talk about pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. But they overlook something that was raised in this speech where Dr. King talks about, well, wait a minute. There was a whole new land opened up in Oklahoma, in Kansas, in the Western territories that was opened up to white European settlers that was denied to African Americans. So when white Europeans wanted land, which they needed in order to farm, and that's the basis of some of their wealth today, it was given to them. But African Americans, after being released from slavery, and under the Emancipation Proclamation, they were given nothing. It's like being released from jail,
Right.
as he says,
Wow.
and saying, God bless you, go on your way.
Well, Lyndon Johnson at the commencement address at Howard University famously even said there is no point, that there is in fact no glory in releasing someone who has been chained, take him to the middle of the road and tell him to go fend for himself without providing opportunity, I think, which in many cases served as the backdrop for Lyndon Johnson's The Great Society.
And that's true. And the other thing is we have to keep in mind is that there's this undercurrent of racism that still exists in America. There's this feeling that African Americans, to a certain extent, are, but in the eyes of certain people, are inferior beings.
Right.
And we have yet to overcome that, despite people jumping up and down saying we're...
The retailer H&M feels that way. We saw what they did yesterday.
Well, and it's ironic because
Right.
H&M is actually a Swedish retailer, and so they're not native to Americans, and so they should...
But they're white.
They
It's a
are.
white
They are.
corporation.
It's a white-owned corporation that operates in America, and basically they should have known better.
Right.
But the other part is that we have to keep in mind that racism still exists. People celebrated after Barack Obama got elected in 2008 and said we have reached the point of a post-racial society. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, what's happened in many instances is those who used to wear hoods,
Right.
who used to wear the white hoods of the KKK, they now simply wear white button-down collar shirts.
Let's take a call. Let's go to Paul. The lines are coming up. Let's go to Paul. Paul has a question or comment here. What would Dr. King say about Detroit?
Well, I think he stated things have really changed, gotten a lot different. I would just like to say, ever since they came out with these smartphones 15 years ago, the playing field for technology and information is even and level. It's essentially everybody has an encyclopedia at their fingertips. Everybody has GPS at their fingertips, and everybody has the same exact information available to them. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Paul. Let's go to Doug. Doug has a question or comment.
Hi, everyone. I think Dr. King would come around, and I think he'd tell Detroit to start something. I think he would say the time is now. Time is right. If there's any place in this world that could start something and start making things right again in this world, I think it would be Detroit, who still would line up right behind Dr. King and march right down the street today, right from the old Detroit stadium right through to Grosse Pointe. I mean, we can do it. We can do it every weekend. We can come out and we can start bringing people together again around all the things that Dr. King has talked about.
Okay.
We all agree we need a vote. We all agree it's equality for all. Everybody gets a vote. Everybody's vote's supposed to count. There's a lot of things we still agree on, and I think Detroit's a place to start doing it.
Okay.
Actually, there's a website out there, 9t9p.org, if anybody's interested. It's based on Dr. King's...
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doug. Let's go to Z. Z has a question or comment.
Well, I have a question. I wonder what Dr. King would think about the apathy that he sees inside Detroit and overall the black community across the United States.
Right.
Political apathy, the laziness with our consumer habits, our inability to organize our dollars to do things that are responsible and things that are solely for our community. Every other community has their tax and has their dollars organized in a way where if a council decides that this is a move that they want to make, that they can support their candidate or support whatever business that they choose to fund. But in the African American community, we are forced a lot of times to go to other communities and with hand in hand. Now, we talked a bit about the bootstrap mentality earlier. Now, how can you tell a person to pull themselves up about their bootstraps if they don't have boots at all? And that's a situation where we continue to find ourselves. I think Dr. King would be shocked by the lack of movement. He said he was going to Washington to get a check. You understand? He said that it was about our economic activity.
Well, he said we came to cash a check and it came back marked insufficient funds.
Why 50 years later he's still looking at why are we still looking at the same dilemma? We have the wisdom of the man's word, and yet we find ourselves, if he came back today, let's say that, a stone was moving out of the cave came Dr. King. It reminds me of that scene in the Ten Commandments where Moses went up to actually get the Ten Commandments, and he came back and he saw them worshiping the golden bull.
Right.
And all the foolishness that happened in Moses' absence. Not to say they were waiting on a great man, to be this great revelation, but man, if he was to just show us today back on earth, I mean, how would he view the foolishness that we've been, subjecting ourselves to for the last 50 years?
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, Dr. King from Stanford University.
Now let me say that the struggle for civil rights is the struggle to make these two Americas one America is much more difficult today than it was 5 or 10 years ago. For about a decade or maybe 12 years, we struggled all across the South in glorious struggles to get rid of legal, overt segregation and all of the humiliation that surrounded that system of segregation. In a sense, this was a struggle for decency.
All right, a struggle for decency. When we come back from the break, we will continue this conversation. What would Dr. King say about Detroit in 2018? This is ahead of the King Day celebration. Our analysis, we're looking at a speech that Dr. King gave at Stanford University in 1967, titled The Other America. One America where there is opportunity flowing, and there's another America where you have the ghetto of misery, the ghetto of poverty, and the ghetto of race, as Dr. King puts it. The triumvirate, I guess, the troubles facing blacks. Bill Knox, Attorney Bill Knox, is my guest here on Redline. We'll come back right after the break and we'll continue this conversation and we'll take more of your calls here. If you have an idea, think about it. What would Dr. King say? You think Dr. King will stand and say, this city is coming back, that this is the best story being written in the Midwest? We'll be right back.